الحمد لله ثم الحمد لله. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونستنصره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، إلها واحدا أحدا صمدا، لم يتخذ صاحبة ولا ولدا ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. وأشهد أن نبينا وعظيمنا محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وحبيبه. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين، وبعد. يقول جل جلاله في محكم التنزيل في آية محفوظة معروفة مشهورة: قد مرت عليك آلاف المرات حتى أصبحت أمرا اعتياديا، حتى أصبحت كلاما لا يؤبه له والعياذ بالله وللأسف. يقول جل جلاله في سورة الرعد، في سورة يحدثنا فيها عن قوانين الدنيا التي خلقها، عن قوانين الحق التي تحكم الطبيعة التي نسكنها والتي تحكمنا هي بذاتها. يقول: إن الله لا يغير ما بقوم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم. Even if you don't know the translation, you've heard this verse many times, to the point where we've turned it into a cliche. It's the verse that we use. You understand the idea that nothing will change until we change ourselves and we move on. And the khutbah will be talking about some form of change, and then we walk out of here and we come back the week after with literally nothing changing at all, besides the fact that we use that verse yet again and have heard it yet again. This is a Quranic law, but it doesn't generate from the Quran. It's a universal law. It's one of the laws of nature. Change will not occur until change occurs. There will be no change unless there is change. This is one of the laws of the universe. It's not philosophy. If you want to see change, change has to happen. If you do the same thing, the same way, you're going to get the exact same result. And if you do that, Einstein calls that insanity. If we continue to do the same thing the same way, expecting a different result, that means there must be something wrong with us. Because if you want to see change, then we need to change. And at the turn of the decade, I have a few questions for myself first, to share with all of you. The reason I came up with these questions is because I got very upset. At the end of 2009, just at the last night of 2009, just as we were going into 2010, I was still back in Syria, I wrote down what I wanted to be and what I wanted to see in myself and in the world in 2020. And I am ashamed to say that I have achieved nothing of what I set out for. Nothing besides getting married to my wife. Nothing, which is a very good achievement on its own. But nothing else. And then I have questions for myself. And I thought I would share those questions with you. Living here in this city for the majority of the last decade. Why is it that we don't have good local leadership here in this city? Why? Why don't we have local leadership within a community that's only 30,000 people? Why don't we have local leadership? What's the reason? What is causing us not to be able to have leadership? People we can stand behind that can move us forward and give us vision. Why? What's causing us not to do it? What's our excuse for that? Who is preventing us from having our own leadership within the small city that we live in? Why? Why doesn't our youth have strong programs, mentorship and role modeling programs that they can be a part of the moment they leave primary school? Why? Why do they have to go get lost in high school? Why do we see them one generation after the other get completely lost in high school? Why? Why don't we have strong programs for them? Something that can encompass their needs, offer them the services that they want, keep them focused and help them achieve their goals. Why? What is preventing us from getting that done? Why is it that our Muslim institutions in the city can't seem to work together? Why? Why can't they move together as one body to achieve our goals? Why don't we have goals? As a community, why don't we know what our goals are? Is it possible that we've been living here for 100 years and we still don't know what we want? Why don't we have clear goals? And why aren't we pushing and pressuring our Muslim institutions to achieve those goals for us? Why? Why don't we have proper support for parents who suffer with, who have children who suffer with mental illnesses? Why don't we have support for immigrants? Why don't we have support for struggling parents in general? Why don't we have good Muslim narratives that we can all buy into and feel proud of instead of being ashamed of our opinions on certain things within the country that we live in? Why? Where is all the money in our community? Where does it go? What is it used for? Why can't we seem to channel it in a way that actually services ourselves and serves our needs? Why? Why don't we have political presence? Why is it okay for millions and millions of Uyghur Muslims to be slaughtered and killed and put in concentration camps? Something that hasn't happened in the last 100 years. Something that should have never happened again. Because we were supposed to have evolved as human beings and never do that to another race ever again. But it happens. Why is it that we don't care? And why is there no voice for us? And why did it take a year and a half or more for us to change our Facebook profile? Why? I don't know. I don't have answers for you. I don't have answers for you. But if these questions aren't bothering you as much as they're bothering me, then I would ask you to take a look at yourself again. If these questions are not bothering you and keeping you up at night and making you wonder what's going on, what's wrong with me, why don't I care about this? Where do I stand in all of this? Then I ask you to revise your stance again. You see, Islam was built on youth. Opposite to the common belief, Islam was a religion that was built on youth. The first 20 Muslims, if you go and you count the first 20 people to accept the faith of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will find that half of them are women and half of them are within their teenage years. Half of them are women and half of them are within their teenage years. Now, who do you want me to count for you? Zayd, the first Mawla Muslim, he was 16. Ali, the first young Muslim, he was 10. Zubayr, Talha, 12, 13, respectively. Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, 15. Sa'id ibn Zayd, 16. Fatima bint al-Khattab, 14. Asma bint Abi Bakr, 12. These are the first 20 Muslims. The Prophet ﷺ built a faith. He began with 20 people, half of them within their teenage years. He built it on people within their teenage years, not their early 20s, in their teenage years. When alayhi salatu wasalam spent 13 years in Mecca and he could no longer see, and he felt that the people of Mecca would never listen to him, so he had to look outwards. It's the 10th year, right? He had to look outwards to see if he can get support from outside Mecca. So he went and used the time of Hajj. And he started to go to all the tribes, one tribe after the other, asking for support, 26 times. He spoke to 26 different tribes and failed 26 times until the last time, the last day of Mina. Literally everybody is left. Everybody is bringing down their tents. Hajj is over. Everybody is leaving. And the Prophet ﷺ is still walking around Mina, still hoping he'll find support. And he will not leave until there's no one left. He'll be the last person to leave ﷺ. And he continues to look. بقي يبحث عليه الصلاة والسلام حتى آخر لا أقول أيام منى أقول حتى آخر لحظات منى حتى لم يبقى أحد في المشعر حتى عاد العرب كلهم إلى ديارهم وقد كلمهم جميعا فمنهم من رده ردا حسنا ومنهم من أساء إليه عليه الصلاة والسلام وما زال يبحث في الجموع وما زال يكلم الناس حتى نظر في المشعر فلم يجد أحدا إلا ثلة بسيطة 6 شباب وحلاق 6 شباب وحلاق بيحلق لهم رؤوسهم لا قبيلة ولا غيره لا في سائد قبيلة ولا حتى بينهم إنسان ناضج متزوج شباب أكبرهم عمرا 21 سنة أكبرهم عمرا 21 سنة. He looks, Mina's empty, completely empty, no one's left. but he can see farther down the road, he can see maybe 5 to 6 people. They are children. He's looking from afar, they look like children to him. He comes closer, he finds 6 young men. The eldest, the oldest person of these 6 young men is 21 years old. As'ad ibn Zurara. He's the oldest, he's the leader of this group, of this glory group that he has. He's 21. Everyone else is in their teens. And they're standing there, and there is a barber who is shaving their heads because they're going to go back, they're done their hajj. So he approaches them, alayhi salatu wassalam. He approaches these 6 young men. They are not leaders of their tribes. They are not even a tribe themselves. They don't represent a tribe. They're just 6 young men who came to do hajj. And he approaches them, alayhi salatu wassalam. And from these 6, the stories that you know from the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ come. From these 6 young men, the stories that you know of the seerah stem. They stem from these 6 young men. There would be no Badr, or Uhud, or Khandaq, or Hunayn, or any of this, or Fatah Makkah. There would be no stories for me to share with you if it wasn't for these 6 people. Eldest 21 years old. These are numbers. Go back to the books of seerah if you think I'm lying. Go take a look. The eldest is As'ad ibn Zurara. The funny part, As'ad lived until he was 23 years old. And he passed away at the age of 23. The rest of the 6 all died in their early 20s. 25 was the latest. So one of the most incredible things you'll find when you study the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ. He speaks to young people in their teens. They all die before he dies, alayhi salatu wasalam. As if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling myself and telling you, if you are young, that it's not about how long you live, it's about what you do during the time that you're given to live. It's about what you do with this time that you're given, not how long you live. Doesn't matter how long you live. Doesn't matter if you live till you're 80 or 90. Tell me what you've done during the time that you've been alive. These 6 young men forever will carry the hasanat of the ummah within their kaffat yawm al-qiyamah. In their scales, they'll have all of the hasanat, and they weren't there for most of it. Because the khair stemmed from themselves. Islam was built on youth. You're sitting here and you're young, and you feel that these questions aren't directed to you, or that these problems are beyond you to solve. I would like to tell you that you could not be farther away from the truth. These questions and these problems will not have answers or solutions unless you get involved. Unless you specifically, with your youthness, with your young age, unless you get involved, until you start asking questions, until you start pressuring those who are older than you, until you start demanding that we start getting our act together as a community, nothing will change. This stems from youth. So my question is, and what do we lack then? There must be a reason for all my questions not to have good answers. I asked you like 15 questions. None of them have good answers. And I want to say, well, why then? We must lack something, right? We must need something. ماذا ينقصنا؟ بالتأكيد ينقصنا شيء. لا يعقل أن تكون هذه الأسئلة التي سألتها التي لا جواب لها ليس لذلك سبب. من المؤكد أن ثمة شيء ينقصنا. ينقصنا الأعداد. We must lack numbers then. We don't lack numbers. Pray any Eid prayer in any masjid and tell me, do we lack numbers? We don't lack numbers. إذن ينقصنا المال. We must lack wealth then. No, we don't. We don't lack wealth. Everyone sitting here are tax-paying individuals here in Canada. Most of the people in this room are people who work hard, who make a good salary. If you put the collective wealth together, we have a lot of wealth within our community. We have more wealth than we need to actually build everything that we want to build, and to initiate every support program that we want to, and to start all the masajid that we would like to start. We don't lack wealth. Money is not a problem for us. إذن ينقصنا الشباب. We must lack youth then. We must be an old community. I spent a few years giving talks in churches in the city to help bring over refugees. And I saw the audiences I spoke to. Looks nothing like this. It looks nothing like this. Nothing. When they don't get things done, they can easily say, well, we're not a youthful community. We're one of the most youthful societies on the planet. We are one of the most youthful societies on the planet. Looking right here today in front of me, all I see are people under the age of 30. The majority. Please come forward, Jazakumullah khair. We have a lot of people, brothers standing at the door, and they're giving me dirty looks. Come forward, Jazakumullah khair. إذن من المؤكد أن تنقصنا الكفاءات. إذن تنقصنا الكفاءات. ليس عندنا كفاءات نحن في هذا البلد. Our problem must be competencies. We don't have skilled professionals. That must be our problem. If we have numbers, we have youth, we have money, then we must not have skilled people to do anything. Look around you. You are surrounded by doctors and lawyers and engineers and teachers and technicians and PhDs. You are surrounded with people from every walk of life. Literally everything you want to. You can build a car with the skills that exist in this room alone. You can start a university with multiple domains, with the competencies you have in this room alone. We don't lack skilled professionals. Now what is it that we lack? Am I the only one asking this question? If you have an answer, offer me one. I don't know what their answer is. I don't know why is it that we can't achieve the simplest goals, the goals that we know we need because our children and ourselves are suffering, our families are suffering. And I don't know why is it we can't get it done. This is why I think. From the same period, the Prophet ﷺ found those 6 guys. They go, they come back next year. 12, they go, they come back 72 people. And then ﷺ says, I'm going to come to Medina. We're going to start something new. We're going to build a community in Medina. We're going to build a country. We're going to build a nation. They say, okay, Ya Rasulullah, I say, I have 5 conditions. I need you to agree to 5 things. If you agree to these 5 things, then I'll come. If you do not agree, then I have no reason to leave where I am. I will continue to fight the war here in Mecca, intellectually. But if I'm going to come to Medina, I have 5 conditions you need to agree with. So what are those 5 conditions? Number 1, السمع والطاعة في المنشط والمكره. For you to obey your leadership, for you to follow your leadership, whether you fully agree or you don't. For you to demand leadership, get leadership, and then walk behind that leadership. Whether you fully agree with everything they do or not, doesn't matter. As long as you've chosen your leadership, as long as you've demanded that you have leadership so that you're not staying stagnant, so that we're staying the exact same place we were 10 years ago, in 2030, if we're in the same position, that means we're not in the same position. That means we're 10 years behind. That's what it means. We need to have some direction. Choose leadership and then obey that leadership by following, offering advice, supporting it, criticizing leadership in a way that allows it to get better, but then moving, whether you fully agree or not. السمع والطاعة في المنشط والمكره. Number 2, الإنفاق في العسر واليسر. Put your wealth. Whether you have a lot or you have a little, whether you have a lot or a little, you're going to use that wealth to help your community move forward. I need you to help me with your money. Whether you have a lot or a little, you're going to help with your money to the extent that you can. Okay. Number 3, الأمر بالمعروف والنهي عن المنكر. Social reform. He needed social reform. We have to take a look at our society. What are the good things that we have? We strengthen that which is good, that is socially seen as good things. And what are things that we don't have going so well? What are the negative parts of our communities? What's the negative part of our culture? Then we discourage that. Then we find ways to end it. We find ways to get rid of it. Try to move out the bad and strengthen the good. The 4th one, لا تأخذكم في الله لومة لائم. Be fully committed. Be fully committed. There's no half-half committing. No, there's no half-half commitment here. You cannot come and say, I'm there for, no. Islam is not something you do in your, we don't do it, we don't serve Islam in our spare time. No. You don't serve Islam when you have time. But you don't have time today, so you don't have, no, that doesn't work. No, I'm sorry. That's not how this is, that's not the deal. That is not the deal. The deal is إِنَّ اللَّهَ اشْتَرَى مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ أَنفُسَهُمْ وَأَمْوَالَهُم بِأَنَّ لَهُمُ الْجَنَّةِ. The deal is that He bought from you your time and your life and your wealth, and He will give you Jannah. It's His. It's His. You're going to use it for His service. That's the deal. And then the 5th one was something specific for the Prophet ﷺ. أَن تَمْنَعُونِي وَتَحْرُسُونِي كَمَا تَمْنَعُونَ أَمْوَالَكُمْ. You protect the Prophet ﷺ. And because he's the Prophet ﷺ, we don't have him here, so we don't need that 5th. We need the 4. You see, Sam'a al-Ta'a doesn't exist because you don't have no leadership at all. Everyone's doing whatever they want. So there's no leadership. So that doesn't matter. الإنفاق في العسر واليسر. When it comes to the use of money, Most of the community here today, I'm sorry to say, has lost hope, has lost trust in giving money to institutions, so people don't give their money anymore. So everyone holds on to their money. I don't fully blame them, because we don't know what it's being used for, and we're not sure that we fully agree with what it's being used for. Social reform, that's the hardest, because that means you have to change and I have to change internally and externally. That means we have to stop doing the wrong stuff. We have to start strengthening the good stuff. And we have to be fully committed. Fully committed. No more of this half, no more of this 50%, no more there's a spare time. No. We have to be fully committed for this message. Those 4 things is what's missing. We're not lacking numbers. We're not lacking collective wealth. We don't lack youth, and we don't lack professionals and skilled competencies. We don't lack these things, which if we did would have been a problem. If we were dirt poor as people in this society, then that would be a whole different story. Then I would have to stand here, scratch my head, and come up with some way to start making money. If for some reason we weren't youthful, no one was getting married and there was no kids, we'd have to fix that. If for some reason the Muslims were not well educated, that would be a problem, but none of that is the case. None of it is. Which makes me stand and wonder, why is it that we cannot make any progress? Why? I asked that question to myself first. وأقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه يغفر لكم يا فوز المستغفرين استغفر الله. الحمد لله كما أمر وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيد البشر وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعهم بعدد قطر المطر وبعد. Find something to do. Regardless of your age, regardless of what situation you're in, whether you're poor or wealthy, whether you're sick or healthy, whether you're happy or miserable, find something to serve the ummah through. It is your obligation to figure out what your calling is in life. You cannot sit around and wait for people to do things for you. If you listen to these questions and one of them hit a nerve, and one of them is actually bothering you, then you need to find a way to fix it. You need to do it, just like I need to do it as well. We all need to find where we fall within the communities that we live in, and then we have to start working towards solutions, individually and in groups. And I use the examples and the stories of youth because I'm talking to you. Yes, if you're grade 5 or 6 or 10 or 12 or your first year university, I'm speaking to you. It's your obligation to find out how you're going to serve this ummah. That is upon you. You have to do that. And you have to give back. You have to be a part of the solution. Because if you're not a part of the solution, you're part of the problem. The Prophet ﷺ made it very clear. Everyone in his ummah had a job. Everyone did something. He made sure he gave everyone something to do, no matter what age they were. Ever heard of Mihjan? Ever heard of Mihjan? Mihjan was a lady in her 80s. Abyssinian lady. She was a slave most of her life. She freed herself towards the end. Good Muslim. She came to the Prophet ﷺ. She wanted something to do. What is she going to do? She cannot fight in wars. She can't even go to the war to help those who are in need. She can't do it. She's too old. So the Prophet ﷺ said, I don't know, think of something. So she decided she was going to be responsible for the cleanliness of the masjid of the Prophet ﷺ. She was not hired for this. This is something she took on herself. She decided she would be taking care of that every day. She would clean the masjid. She would turn on the lights. At the time, obviously, there was no electricity. So she had to actually find some way to turn on the lamps of siraj in the masjid. And she would be the one to turn it off at night. And then one day, she died. She died in the middle of the night. So the Sahaba took her, غسلوها, they put her in her coffin, and then they buried her, and they prayed, Salat al-Janazah, and they went to sleep. In the morning, the Prophet ﷺ would come to the masjid, and he would say, Aina Ummu Mihjan? Why don't I see her? She's usually around the masjid cleaning, doing something. I say salams to her. So they said, ماتت يا رسول الله. She passed away last night. فقال أفلا آذنتموني? Why wasn't I told? فقال ماتت في الليل فما أحببنا أن نزعجك. She died at night. We didn't want to bother you. فقال أين قبرها? Where is her? Where do you bury her? فقال دفناها في البقيع. Where we put all the Muslims. فأخذ الناس. He took the people with him after Fajr. فذهب إلى قبرها صلى الله عليه وسلم فوقف فصلى عليها, and he stood there and he performed janazah again. ثم دعا لها حتى تمنى الناس لو كانوا مكانها. And then he made dua for her until the people who were saying Ameen wish they were the people in the grave. Just find something to do. Don't give me excuses of anything. Don't tell me how old you are or how young you are. It doesn't matter. Find something you can service one person. Help one individual. One. Just help one person. خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنْ حُمُرِ النِّعَمِ. It's better for you than obtaining all the wealth of all the world if you serve one person. Look for one individual that you feel you can help, and help that one person if you feel completely helpless. You need to find your calling in this ummah at the turn of the decade. At the turn of the decade. May this be your resolution. May this start today. May you sit with yourself today. May I sit with myself today. And we figure out how are we going to serve this ummah. And we find out what it is, and then we move towards it. Not in our spare time, but with everything that we have on the inside. With everything that we have on the inside, we move towards serving our ummah, regardless of how old we are. Especially my younger brothers and sisters. I am speaking to you. I am fully, and if I could, exclusively would have been speaking to you. But I'm forced to speak to the older people, because if I don't, they'll kick me out. I have to speak to, but I'm speaking to you. I'm talking to you. You're in primary school, you're in high school, you're in university. I am talking to you. You're the one that I am actually looking at and thinking about and wondering if you'll take this seriously or not. Islam was built by youth, on youth, for youth. Always has been and always will. And that will never change. And as long as you don't care, as long as you are fully consumed by the simple activities that you perform at your house or at school, as long as you're fully happy with that, with the leisure time that you spend in front of your screen, then I don't know what I can do anymore. And I am helpless here. And this will not go anywhere. The khutbahs won't go anywhere, the masajid won't go anywhere, the institution will go nowhere. This is exclusively built on youth, men and women. I hope you hear that from me today and you understand it, so that you start making some decisions. You start making some decisions on your own. And I guarantee you that the next time I stand here, at the turn, not of a decade, at the turn of a year, things will be different. Things will be different. He built an empire, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in 23 years that lasted over a millennium. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And it can happen again. And I hope, inshallah, that it will happen again. I hope that was beneficial. Before we end the khutbah there, the sisters' halaqah will start on Tuesdays, this Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Sister Sarah Lawandi will start her halaqah again. It's open for all sisters, all ages. Every Tuesday at 8 o'clock, inshallah, it will restart for those who would like to participate. واعلموا أن الله أمرنا بأمر عظيم فقال إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على آل إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد وارض اللهم عن الأربعة الخلفاء السادة الحنفاء أبي بكر وعمر وعثمان وعلي وارض اللهم عن زوجاته أمهات المؤمنين وعن آله الطيبين الطاهرين وعن صحابته الغر الميامين وعن التابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وعنا معهم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات اللهم فرج هم المهمومين ونفس كرب المكروبين وارفع الغم عن المغمومين وأزل الظلم عن المظلومين واحقن دماءنا ودماء المسلمين وارحم موتانا وموتى المسلمين واشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين ورد الحقوق إلى أهلها يا أرحم الراحمين ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون أقم الصلاة